Last week, President Donald Trump engineered the impossible: peace in the Middle East.
They're all tired of fighting, and this really gives the whole Middle East. This is beyond Gaza. Gaza is very important, but this is beyond Gaza. This is peace in the Middle East, and it is a beautiful thing. You know, it's a term that you and I have been hearing since we were very young, right? And now we have a chance of really having that.
This is nothing less than a triumph. The Middle East has been the cockpit of forever imperial wars for centuries. In response, the globalists are working to destabilize the U.S. economy and blow up the coalition which brought Trump to the White House. Canada's Mark Carney is the man chosen to perfect their plan. In an anti-Trump strategy piece on Thursday, The Economist says that Trump's tariffs and immigration policies are doomed to cause political and economic pain. Quote, "The pain from trade and immigration restrictions cannot be postponed forever." While that's something of a fantasy, since the tariffs haven't created anything like that to date, they go on to say that Mark Carney is building a free trade bloc composed of Canada, the EU, and Asia to isolate and outmaneuver Trump. I'm Barbara Boyd, and I've been documenting the evil of the modern British Empire for decades. If you follow our updates and appreciate the facts and direction we provide, please like and share this one. It increases our reach with YouTube. Today, I'm going to first talk about Trump's Mideast peace breakthrough and some surprising developments in the Ukraine war. Then we'll cover the empire's panicked response. They are attempting to derail Trump's modern industrial revolution through financial warfare and by instigating separatist violence against the federal government. First, Trump's peace breakthrough. Ever since Trump's precision attack on Iran's nuclear facilities, British intelligence has circulated the line that Trump is an abject servant of Benjamin Netanyahu. Just look at this headline from the British Foreign Policy Shop, the misnamed Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. Netanyahu's dangerous power over Trump, they say. This line targets critical parts of Trump's political base, Arabs throughout the country, and particularly Michigan, and the huge swath of anti-war voters, particularly young people, who voted for Trump in droves. If people knew about the Abraham Accords from Trump's first term, they would never have believed this lie. They would have known that Trump is widely respected in the Arab world because of his work for peace in his first administration, and he's nobody's tool. That's the problem they have with him. According to the reporting, Trump lined up the Arab states for his new plan at the United Nations when he spoke there on September 29th. Israel was not invited to that summit. He then forced the peace on Benjamin Netanyahu. The rapid pace of this development shocked the political pundits. How could three real estate guys, Trump, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, pull off a peace deal when professional diplomats had failed for decades? Maybe it's because these guys haven't been brainwashed in the art of diplomacy as practiced by the British Empire in London or at such outposts as Georgetown University or the Fletcher School in the United States. President Trump will be in Israel on Monday when the hostages are scheduled for release. Then he will go to Egypt for an extraordinary conference of world leaders to secure the next steps in the peace process. That meeting will have leaders of foreign ministers from Germany, France, the UK, Italy, Qatar, the UAE, Jordan, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and Indonesia. As of now, Israel is not attending. Meanwhile, Trump's accomplishment has forced even his enemies to come forward to congratulate him. Barack Obama is an example. Obama praised the peace breakthrough, but couldn't muster the courage to say Trump's name. He probably attributes the success to his buddy, Tony Blair. Blair, who is the author of The War on Iraq and other post-9/11 forever wars, is trying desperately to create a big role for himself in these peace negotiations. On Friday, when the Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to the Venezuelan opposition figure Maria Corina Machado, Russian President Putin blasted the Nobel Committee for not giving it to Trump. Putin said the Nobel Prize was discredited. He noted that it had been awarded to people who had done nothing for peace. He didn't directly name Obama, but Barack Obama was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize even before he took office. Putin said that Trump is truly doing a lot to, quote, resolve complex crises that have dragged on for years, even decades. Volodymyr Zelensky, on the other hand, said Ukraine could only support the prize for Trump if he provided Ukraine with Tomahawk missiles to strike deep in Russia. You see the irony here? Missiles for peace. There could not be a more perfect demonstration as to why the Ukraine war drags on. But in another surprise on the peace front, First Lady Melania Trump announced Friday that she has been working directly with Vladimir Putin to reunite Ukrainian children with their families. The lie that Russia deliberately kidnapped Ukrainian children has been a staple of Ukraine's propaganda campaigns for months. Here at Promethean Action, we pride ourselves in exposing the real drivers of events. We need you to join our community now. We promise you will be armed with a knowledge of history, philosophy, and classical culture through which we can win this battle for our nation. Please become a paying subscriber to our newsletter. The link is in the description. Now for Mark Carney and Canada. The Economist of London spilled the beans last week on aspects of their plan to economically destabilize the United States. And they took great pains to say that Prime Minister Mark Carney of Canada has the antidote to Trump, namely a new free trading bloc which will freeze the United States out, possibly aligning that free trading bloc with China. Our viewers know that Carney is the world's preeminent central banker, who now rules the Dominion of Canada. Due to his experience directing both the Bank of England and the Bank of Canada, he has contacts which run deep inside the modern British financial empire and includes China and the BRICS nations. In 2019, at Jackson Hole, Carney proposed that all government spending decisions be taken away from elected officials and handed to central banks. The same Jackson Hole meeting featured elaborate discussions of a digital currency in line with a total surveillance state. Poll after poll in the United States shows that inflation and the high cost of living remains the most critical issue to all voters. Trump inherited inflation from the wreckage of the Biden administration and the Federal Reserve. He is crafting policies in housing, in farming, in healthcare, in energy to directly address those costs. But rebuilding the economy from the ground up takes time. The globalists plan to enforce a total media blackout on Trump's economic measures in order to blame inflation on Trump's tariffs. On the ground in Michigan and Texas, we are already seeing major campaigns by the Chamber of Commerce and Americans for Prosperity to do just that. Those two groups have opposed Trump's tariffs throughout. On Friday, China announced they were embargoing all rare earths. These are essential for computing, defense, cars, and many other aspects of modern industry. The announcement was seen by most as a negotiating tactic, but it potentially sets off a trade war, which is consistent with Mark Carney's chaos and confusion planning. Carney also plans to use the countries that form the old Trans-Pacific Partnership Free Trade Agreement, along with the EU, as a free trade bloc in opposition to the United States. Those 12 countries are Australia, Brunei, Canada, Chile, Japan, Malaysia, Mexico, New Zealand, Peru, Singapore, the United Kingdom, and Vietnam. Meanwhile, governors in California, Oregon, Illinois are challenging Trump's deportations in increasingly violent clashes and riots, which they are provoking. Their actions amount to a neo-Confederate assault on the national government. In Washington, the government remains shut down. According to Republicans, Democrats will not enter serious negotiations until their planned No King's Day anti-Trump march on Washington on October 18th. Trump is fighting back hard. This week, he held a briefing on Antifa and other anarchist and violence-prone groups and their terror attacks, mostly in states and cities controlled by Democrats. He is targeting their funders for prosecution and loss of any tax-exempt status. Tish James, the New York Attorney General and lawfare queen, was indicted this week. It's anticipated that warmonger John Bolton will be indicted next week. The huge problem these guys have in attempting to destroy us is the awakened American population. Our biggest vulnerability is that people don't fully comprehend what Trump is doing with the economy, what his American system economics represents. He needs help in conveying American system economics broadly in the population. That's a vulnerability Promethean action exists to eliminate. But we can't expand our coverage or our classes, which we need to do urgently now, without your financial help. Please contribute as much as you can today. I'll see you again